Good morning, Tahmina Khan is here in TKMaths is fun. In today's video, we will see the solution of question paper June 2024 variant 1-3 of 9709 P1. I have solved the questions here. So I will stop at every screen for 30-40 seconds and discuss the important points, and you can see the solutions, right? So first question is on the expansion binomial theorem. So binomial expansion, you can see the question here. So the important thing is that we have to expand this. We have to find the coefficient of x square. So after the expansion, I'm multiplying only those terms where I will get x square. So 2 multiplied by this term and 5x multiplied by this term. So I will get the coefficient of x square. Basic formula will be given to you in MF 19. Now this is question number 2, where equation of the curve is given to you. Amplitude is k, which is unknown, and you have to find out the value of a and the coordinates of a and b basically, right? A is on the x-axis and b is at the minimum point. Two informations are given to you here. So you can recall here when we are on the y-axis, at point A, which is here, the y coordinate will be 0. So in this equation, I am putting y equals to 0, and just a second, okay, and I got this equation. Now what I'm doing here, just recalling you, helping you to recall from the graph of cos. Cos is 0 at this point, which is pi by 2. Then it is at this point, which is 3 pi by 2. So it means this angle should be equals to pi by 2 and equals to 3 pi by 2. Only then you can get 0. So that's why I have done these two working here, that x minus pi by 6 equals to pi by 2 here, and x minus pi by 6 equals to 3 pi by 2. Now why did not I consider this answer, and why I'm considering this answer? Because of the graph given to us. The first point where it is intercepting the x-axis is not our requirement to find out. So that's why I'm rejecting that answer and I'm only considering this answer. Then it was saying find out the minimum point B. So at coordinate B, I am taking 3 pi plus pi by 6 equals to this. What is the reason? Now if you see here, this is your first minimum point and this is your second minimum point. Again, this is not the requirement to find out. So from the original graph, if you see, the first minimum value comes at pi and second minimum value come at 3 pi. Because this whole graph is shifted toward right by pi by 6, that's why the graph is having this shape, right? This is the point, just a minute. This is the point which has moved from here to here. So this point, minimum point or x coordinate of this is actually equals to what? Is actually equals to 3 pi. So I am adding in 3 pi by 6. This is the reason behind it. And the minimum value is k. Why? Because this is my amplitude. So it is k here maximum and minus k here minimum. So that's why I have taken here this value. So I hope you understood this. Now in the next question, I have to find the exact value of t which satisfies the equation. So this is a simple question. I'm simply applying here using the calculator, found the answer and solve it. So there is no complication at all in this question. So you can see here straight away. It looks complicated in one first glance, but actually it is not. Now question number 3, which is related to circular measure. So you have to focus here. Whatever is written here is actually expressed in the diagram also. An important thing here is the perimeter is given to you of this shaded region and the area is given to you. Two informations are given to you and you have to find the values of r and theta. Please remember and read the question carefully. It is values, right? So plural, r and theta. So I'm just forming two equations, area of sector equation and area of perimeter, substituting values and solving them simultaneously. So this is a simple straight question. Now second part, okay. So this is simple. You can see here, you can put the video on pause. To make the video small, I have solved all the question in advance and discussing the important points here, right? So basically, once you get the value of r, you can substitute it back in any of the equation to get the values of theta, which we have done here. Now you have to find the area of the triangle ACB. The theta which you have found, now this is something important you have to take care. In this paper, these are the little things which you need to be careful about. So actually the theta which you have found in the above part is this thing, right? This value. But when you are finding out the area of a triangle ACB, you need this angle. And that is the reason I have done here what? 2 pi minus 4.5. Right? One more thing I have written here. I am taking which angle of theta? 4.5. Whereas we have gotten here two values, 4.5. Another one is 8 upon 9. So this is within our range which is given to us in the question here, right? Because this is your reflex angle. The reflex angles are what? They are always between pi and 2 pi, greater than pi and less than 2 pi. So that's why I have taken this value of theta. Okay, 8 upon 9 is less than pi. Okay, so I got this here. Now question number 4. At any point you think it is fast, you can put the video on pause. Show that the equation this can be written in this form. Now this was again a simple question. Instead of tan theta, we are writing sin theta over cos theta here and then simplifying it. And then applying this identity at this point in place of this. And once we got it in the form which is given to us in the question, we are just comparing and finding what is A, B and C. Okay. And then question is saying hence solve the equation. So it is the same thing which we have just shown here in this form. So we will use this here in place of this here. But what is the difference here? Did you notice one thing? In the actual question it was x here, but now it is 2x. So wherever you have theta, you will write 2 theta there. I mean x you have, you will write 2x. Okay. And then you are simply solving the equation considering the ASTC thing. Okay. So here I have solved the basic thing considering this. Okay. And I have gotten my answer. Because considering this that it is very close to the exam, the basics are all clear. So that's why I'm not going into too much details. I'm just highlighting here the important aspects of the question you have to keep in mind, which are overlooked at time. So once you get the answer, you will divide it by 2 because those angles are of 2x. Question number 5, find the coordinates of the stationary point. This is a straightforward question, differentiating it. At the stationary point, it means your rate of change is 0. So you're putting dy over dx equals to 0. Okay. And then you got your value of x. If I make any calculation mistake, please overlook it. And you can do, but I think I'm 100% do all the calculations correctly. So x is equals to minus 1 over 2. Now once you found the value of x, you can plug it back in the equation of the curve to get the value of y. So this is how you will get this stationary point. Now we know when we have to find the nature of the stationary point, we do double derivative, second derivative. And in that derivative, we substitute this value of x. Which value? Which is the x coordinate of the stationary point. So this is exactly what I have done here. And I will substitute this value. And if my double derivative is positive, it means it is a minimum value curve, right? The minimum value is there. Okay. For positive values of x, determine whether the curve shows a function that is increasing, decreasing, or neither. Now we know here the basic knowledge, if the rate of change is positive, function is increasing, which means if dy over dx is greater than 0, function is increasing. If dy over dx is negative, function is decreasing. So if you see here, when I pick up the first derivative dy over dx, no matter which, because question is saying positive values of x, here it is written. So if you substitute positive value here and here, and they are adding up, so definitely your overall answer will be positive. It means your dy over dx will be greater than 0. This shows that the curve is an increasing function for all positive values of x. Now question number 6, a curve passes through the point this and is such that dy over dx is this. You have to find the equation of the curve. So we know it is the integration question. So simple integration here. The point is given to you on the curve, plugging in to get the value of c, and you find the equation of the curve. Right? This is a simple calculation. Now next part is connected with the transformation. It is said the curve is transformed by the stretch in the x-axis with the scale factor half, and then it is translated to 10. Now we know column vector, when it is written like this 2 mean it is moving towards right, and this 10 mean it is moving upward. So I have explained here, when it is stretch in the x coordinate with the scale factor half, what does it mean? It simply means your function f of x, wherever you have x you will multiply it by 2, and when it is translation to 10 column vector, it means your this value whatever is here will have minus 2 because it goes in the reverse, and then plus 10. So I have used different color to explain to you. So this x will become x minus 2, which I have shown here, and plus 10. So now this is what I have gotten, and I will apply this concept in this question. Right now you take this as a f of x. Okay, so I have written it here again. You see here, this is your f of x, and in place of x now you have to write this 4x minus 4. So I have used different color to show it very clearly, and plus 10 is at the end with the function, with the value. So that's why I've written plus 10 here later. So your new curve will have this equation. So you can write it with yourself and you will find it better. Now this question number 7, which is about the arithmetic progression, the first term is given to you and the sum of the first 10 terms is given to you. So you know the formula for the sum of the terms. Simply plug in the values in it and you will get the value of d. Now this question was tricky. You need to be careful about it. You have to find the sum of all the terms in the arithmetic progression which have values between 25 and 100. So you need to know how many terms are there first of all, right? We know that this formula is to find out the specific term. So I am finding out the values of n between 25 and 100, and that's why I have made this inequality, right? So now when I solve it, I get here that n is equals to 30. You can solve it yourself. I have done each and every step, some very basic thing also, just to make it very clear. So I know that between 25 and 100 there are 30 terms, right? And we know when we apply the formula for the sum of the term, it always gives us sum from the first term till wherever we are calculating. So if I'm finding out the 40 terms which are between 25 and 100, it means I have to find out these terms minus these terms, right? So what do you see here? 10.4. It means I'm talking about n greater than 10 because 10.4 is not a term. Terms are 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So it means I'm talking about term 11 up till term 40, right? So these are 30 terms. So I'm talking about all the terms which are here are 10 until here they are 40 terms. Now if you have read the question part 1 carefully, the first 10 terms sum was already given to you here, right? 127. But in case if you have forgotten and you apply this formula again to calculate, just a minute. So there is no harm, it's just a waste of little time. Otherwise this part was already given to you in the question. So this is how you will get the sum of the terms which are in between the values 25 and 100. Now question 8 is, if you see here, it is related to circle, equation is given and it is meeting at y-axis. So we know at y-axis it is what? X coordinate is 0. So I'm substituting x0 in the equation and I got the meeting point A and B, which is 0, -5 and 0, 3. Now at these 2 points, so if you see this is a circle I have drawn here later, for example, if this is your point A and B, right? And you draw 2 tangents here and these tangents are meeting at a point P. This is what you have to calculate. This is the question. So I definitely need to know the equation of these tangents. I know the center of the curve. How? If I change this equation in the standard form, which I have shown here to you, you can see here I have done it here for you. So you can find the center of the curve, which is at 3 comma minus 1. We can do directly also a bit, but I have not done those direct works because that simply confuses those who do not have a good grip. So it is 3 comma minus 1. That is the center of the circle. And you already have point A and B. We know that tangent and radius make what? Perpendicular. So that's why when I am finding out the gradient here of OA and OB, now you can focus on this diagram. So when you find out the gradient of this, please remember the gradient of the tangent will be inverse and with opposite sign. And that's why I have taken it here like this. So I got the two gradients of OA and OB, and then I found out the gradient of the tangent passing through those 2 points. Then it is very easy to find out the equation of the tangent because you have the gradient, and you have the point. Similarly, the tangent which is passing through here, you have the gradient and you have the point. This gradient is minus 3 upon 4 and this gradient is 3 upon 4. So then you have found the equation of the line, right? Okay, so after this, we will solve them simultaneously to get the point. Okay. Now question number 9. This is related to volume of a solid, integration. So we know the formula for the volume of the solid, which is what? Oh no, that is next part. So here you have to find the equation of the tangent of the curve basically. I have drawn this red line here for you. This red line is here for you. Okay, so now, first of all, we are differentiating here. You can see here. After differentiation, I am substituting the values in it. Because it is given at x is equals to 3, I have found the y coordinate. So I have a point which I am substituting here and got this. Then I found the equation of the tangent. Excuse me. The region shaded in the diagram is given to you. It is between x equals to 1 and x equals to 3. So you can see here, I have applied everything in the formula straight away. And then I got the answer 60 pi. So this is straightforward. Now see question number 10. This was a little tricky, especially part C was tricky, not this one. Part A was also a bit. So series is given to you here, sequence is given to you here, A1, A2, A3, and this is a geometric sequence. The important thing here is, when it is given this equation, you need to know what is A5. A5 is basically fifth term, so I have tried to explain to you here. So fifth term will be first term times r power 4 because of this general formula. So once I know these, I'm simply substituting them in the equation to get the value of r. Now because question is saying r is positive, I have taken r is equals to 2 upon 3. And another thing, here it is the concept of quadratic, disguise form. Then after that, find the sum of the first 20 terms of the geometric progression. Now this is straightforward because the first 20 terms it is saying, first term is a, r is 2 upon 3. I'm simply substituting and getting the answer. The part C is tricky because it was saying find the sum to infinity. Mostly it is overlooked that you have to find straight away the sum of infinity. But it is saying sum of infinity to this, right? So I am writing here carefully what this series will be here. If you see here, it is A2, A5, A8. But I have written here for your understanding the initial series also, which is A1, A2, A3, A4. And how I am getting it, I have explained it here. So after that, I have to find out the sum of this series. So I need to find out new r and new a. My new a is actually A2, which is this value. But what is my new r? It is actually A5 divided by A2, right? So I have done here by two methods because there are three r's also in between. So you could do directly r cube, or you can find out like this, right? Now I have my new a and new r. So I'm simply substituting it in the formula for sum of infinity and I got the answer, right? Now last question, which is related to function, is by completing the square find the range. So this part was easy. You can apply the completing square method. You're getting minus sign here, so it means the curve has this shape. It is a maximum value curve, so range will be less than 19. B part was little tricky. It is given that the graph of g inverse of f of x. So the function f of x will go in g inverse. So I have found the g inverse function first, and then after that I am substituting in place of x function f because of this reason, right, which I have shown you here. Now since the graph g inverse of x and gx, which is given here, they are meeting, it means I can equate them, but they are meeting at a single point. So I am equating this equation and this equation here, you can see here, and then I am simplifying it, bringing it into the standard quadratic form, which is this. Why I am doing this? Once it is in this form, because the curves are meeting at one point, it means discriminant equals to 0. That would help me to get the value of k. But I have to find the point P, not the value of k only, right? So that value of k, when I will plug in here, this is the equation which I am getting once they are meeting, right, by equating them. So once I substitute the value of k here, I get the x value minus 5. Now I have to get the y coordinate also. So I am substituting in the g curve, which is simple, and I got the value of y, which is minus 13. You can plug in the other equation also, other equation of the curve, but that is little complicated, quadratic.